Hello everyone, welcome back to Optimize Evony. I wanted to hit you guys with a quick video today on some information that I received today on the new dragon. I know a lot of people have been interested in this, and really what Evony did does not make a lot of sense here. But we'll get into that when we actually look at some of the buffs. So first, um, minor correction from my last video. It was kind of before everyone understood how all of this was working. Um, but basically the dragon is super expensive. And I think, most people kind of figured that out pretty quickly. I think the dragon with like double downs is like 400-ish, 400 to 500. Which is just massively expensive uh, for the dragon. But so I'm sure some people will get it. I have an alliance mate that got it, but I do not plan on getting it because that's kind of ridiculous for me. I was really kind of disappointed again with Evany on this. This was, I think, a really good chance for them to do some kind of positive outreach to their players and make it grindable, make it something where, I mean, it could be like an absurd amount where it would take you like 2 months or 3 months to get to it if you're not coining, but at least make it grindable. But I think as it stands, the frost, yep, okay, as I think I mentioned in the last video, the gold coins disappear at the end of the event. So like it's not like you're going to be able to save up these coins and get a chance at this later. They might release this in a different way later on, hopefully for less money and stuff like that. But we'll kind of see what happens with that. But let's actually look into what this dragon is actually getting you. I gave you some hints at it based on what we could see here. Basically, I thought that it was going to be a replacement for Nidhogg based on these skills here, the range troop attack and mount troop attack skill book here. I still think that makes sense for these skills, but I recently got some new information on like what the actual talents are, and it doesn't really make any sense to me. But let's kind of look at them and see what's going on with them. So first, the first talent, this does make sense. Range troop attack, mount troop HP. It kind of is following the ranged and mount version. That's fine, makes sense. No real qualms with this. There's not really no other dragon has mount troop HP. So that's kind of a cool one there, but uh, you probably would be using it for mounts anyways. So um, but let's look into the next one. The next one, this is where it doesn't make any sense at all. This is in-city buffs. So when the general brings the dragons, they're getting in-city range troop and mount troop attack. This doesn't make any sense for how I envision people to use this dragon. I envision people to use it as a mount dragon as a replacement for Nidhogg for people who couldn't get Nidhogg. This doesn't make sense, right? Like the the buffs here are in-city buffs. In-city buffs are not going to trigger when you're attacking bosses or when you're doing anything like that. It's only going to be when it's on the wall. So it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Um, and then let's look at the last one, just so that we have the full picture. And the last one is healing speed and hospital capacity. So again, this looks like it's kind of targeting a wall gen. So Evony is kind of releasing this dragon that has like solid. solid attacking buffs, uh, or overall buffs. So these buffs are overall buffs. The range troop attack, the mount troop attack buffs are overall. That means you get those buffs when you're attacking, defending, in city, whatever buffs, wherever that this dragon is present in the battle. Um, but the in-city ones only only trigger in when they're the defense general. So and the those skills don't trigger when uh you're using it as an assistant. So I thought about like, okay, maybe you could use this as an assistant general and have, some of these things, trigger, but that's just not how assistant generals work, at least not currently. And then the other thing I was thinking is like, oh, like the mount troop HP, that's actually pretty cool for a wall gen. And so being able to increase that mount troop HP would be pretty cool. Um, and maybe it makes sense. The only thing that I'm kind of thinking is like maybe it makes sense as like a dragon for an alternate wall gen. So if you're like switching between two wall gens, maybe it makes sense to have one that's targeted for like mount troop HP, which would be this one, and then maybe you have one that's targeted towards like siege, and that would be the Dragon of Thebes. And that I could see that working, but it Evony has made it very difficult to change wall gens right now because you have to change the assistants and stuff like that as well. And so it almost doesn't makes it like not make sense for you to change it. But that's kind of the only place where I could see it making sense because it is one of the only dragons that have Mount Troop HP, and that is so important for the survivability of your mounts. So maybe you could use it there. Otherwise, I would say just ignore the the talents and use it as a mount gen, refine it for mount skills, and use it as that replacement for Nidhogg, which then, as I talked about earlier, frees up the Fafnir for Siege, which is super important. So it is still useful. It's just the talents are super confusing, and it really just makes me think like, okay, Evony doesn't actually know what they're doing when they're releasing this stuff. Or maybe they do, and there's some meta that I'm missing. Or they're gonna, allow the chance to like switch wall gen presets or something like that, which would make it, actually maybe useful. But yeah, I think the kind of main takeaways is that again, super expensive. It's really only going to be attainable for big coiners, and Evony made it very confusing with the talents. So it's questionable like how useful it's going to be anyways in terms of like the talents. It if you did see that the activatable talent, it did have hospital capacity and healing speed. So that's still going to be nice. You're going to be able to reduce your healing speed if you activate that. I think there might be, let me look at these other ones. I don't actually have them unlocked here. This one's research speed and construction speed, but I think maybe this one, yeah, this one also has healing speed. So it would be an additional healing speed thing. So I guess if you're zeroed in Battlefield or something like that, it always helps to have additional healing speed, but I really don't think that the amount that you're going to spend on the dragon is going to really be worth that. So yeah, what do you guys think about the dragon? Is there some use case that I'm not thinking of here that this would make a lot of sense for? I do really think that, they're kind of targeting this as a wall gen dragon, or just like maybe as just like a utility dragon. It's just they didn't need to put that in-city buff there. If they didn't put that in-city buff there, and if it was just range troop attack and mountain troop attack, this would be, roughly equivalent to Nidhogg, and everyone would be happy. But that's unfortunately not the case. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about where you're gonna put this if you do get it. And yeah, I'm not gonna get it. So uh, let me know if I did get these screenshots from an alliance mate, so there's a chance that something has changed or something like that. But as of right now, that's kind of what I'm seeing, and it's yeah, unfortunately, just not really what we were expecting. Um, Another thing I wanted to bring up is, did you guys see? Yesterday. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it today. But in the auction house, they basically had in like this top one. Bummer. I'm not going to be able to see it, I don't think, uh, because it's already gone. But basically, they had a blazon that had like perfect refines for marching ground troop attack. And I mean, it is super cool, like if you can get that. But to me, it was just like it was kind of just like a blatant like, okay, again, here's a pay for buffs thing. Because for those of you who haven't done a lot on blazons and upgraded them and stuff like that, you basically you can pick you're able to pick those first two, not first two. Um, you're able to essentially find ones that have the basic attributes that you really like, but then at level 10 and at level 15, it unlocks a new attribute, and that's a random attribute. So basically, you can get all the way up to level 10 or level 15 with all good attributes, and then at that level, it unlocks something like mount troop load or something, for example, on this one, that's like just not beneficial to you. And then you either have to like completely redo it and hope that you get a better version, or just accept that you're going to miss out on those buffs. And so basically what Evony did is they put a perfectly, quote unquote, perfectly uh, maxed uh, blazon in the as like the main thing for the auction house. And so it had like full stats here, and then it also had, the stats here that were of the like type. They were all marching ground troop attack, I believe. And so like total it was around like 50% buffs when you're marching for the ground troop attack. I think honestly there's probably a lot cheaper things in the game that will get you that amount of buffs. But for the people who are buying those things, they're probably micro optimizing anyways. And I mean, maybe they also could have gotten those blazons, to that level by themselves, but it just would have taken a lot of time because blazons are slow, and you have to. There's a lot of luck involved. But yeah, what do you guys think about them just like auctioning off like a a perfectly refined blazon in the store in the auction? Because like to me this is like essentially what this is kind of like the newer version of refining, right? Like essentially you have some random attributes and you upgrade it, and like it's like refining kind of for dummies. Except for like there's just like this massive random chance that can really kind of screw you over at the end. And so it's weird for me that Evany is essentially just like, here, take this thing that, beats all the random number generator stuff, uh, and you can just take it for whatever that ended up going with. I think it was like 17 million gems or something like that the last time I looked, but I didn't look, late in the night. But yeah, I don't know, it's ultimately it's not what I'm going to be most upset about in the game right now. So, I mean, congrats to whoever won it. It's just kind of a cop out thing by Evany, in my opinion. But yeah, that's all I had for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.